Hello and welcome to Just One More Watch, and welcome today to Misadventures in Tritium Part 2. If you're a channel regular, thank you. You probably know I've been on a mission to find high quality but affordable tritium watches for years now. A mission that has so far proved to be impossible. If you're not prepared to drop $1,000+ US on a ball, there's slim pickings, to be honest. I bought an Epoch late last year. It was a disaster. It made my bottom 5 list of 2022. That's how bad it was. The only other affordable tritium watches I've reviewed on the channel were a couple of years ago and made by Yilang. The watches were okay, but the tritium was amazing. I've still got one and I do wear it quite regularly after dark, of course. So you can imagine my delight when Yilang got in touch with me directly, offering to send me more watches for review. As such, this video is sponsored by Yilang. I will leave a link to their official store on AliExpress in the description of the video. Now, they gave me the pick of the range and I asked for them to send me 2 very specific watches for very specific reasons. Have I finally, therefore, found the affordable tritium I have been looking for, or are they contenders for the bottom 5 list of 2023? Let's flip the camera and peel off some stickers. Indeed, let's. I'm going to try and kind of open this package while discussing what's in the package today. So, you're after a tritium watch. What are you buying a tritium watch for? Well, primarily you're buying it for after dark legibility. You're looking for the most practical, the most legible timepiece it is possible to buy for use after dark. So in that case, you're thinking about practicalities. And if you're thinking about practicalities, then I would imagine you would entertain the possibility of a watch that was rugged, accurate, reliable, and you didn't need to wind every 40 hours, i.e. a quartz watch. It seems to me anyway that tritium and quartz go hand in hand, natural bedfellows. If you're keen on the practicality of one, then surely you should be keen on it in combination with the practicality of the other. But what if there was another layer of practicality you could add? What if you could get a quartz watch that you didn't need to replace the battery on every 2 to 3 years? These two are both solar quartz, both powered by Seiko solar quartz movements. That is the reason why I picked them. Alright, one's a 3-hander, one is a dive chrono. I've no idea which is which. I'm going to open this one first, meaning this one second. Shine your beauty. Hey, why not? Alright, let's get into this one. What do we got here? I am guessing we have got instruction manual, warranty card. Yeah, I remember all of this from last time. Instruction manual, warranty card, and a little Yilang luggage tag with the Yilang wolf on it. There you go. And what do we got? We have got the 3-hander, so 3-hand plus day date complication. Now, they mislabel these as EcoDrive powered on their listings. Now, EcoDrive is Citizen's proprietary movement technology. This is not a Citizen movement. This is a Seiko movement. It's a VS42. Let's peel off these stickers. And the last one, the big case protection sticker. All right, and there it is. All right, we're back, we're sized, and we are set. This is the V1213S by Yilang. I think they also call it the Sea Overlord, judging by the text and judging by the fish at the index at 5 there. There is a matching fish on the case back. I'll show you in just a second or two. Now, it's a big boy. I thought this was a 44 when I ordered it because that's what the Yilang listing claims. They claim 44mm in diameter and 14.3mm thick, but my calipers measure something different. They measure 45.6mm in diameter, one of the biggest watches I have looked at that wasn't a G-Shock or a Seiko tuner in a long time. I also measure it at 15mm thick with a 53mm lug to lug, plus it has mail. non-articulated end links. At least we are agreed 22mm lug width, sized up for me 7-inch wrist. This one weighs in at 190 grams. Yeah, look, I knew it was big. I knew it was probably going to be too big for me personally, but I didn't think it was going to be bigger than advertised. Case finish is reasonable enough though, it's actually quite nice. This is a sub $200 watch once you add the vouchers. That's pretty nice fine grade horizontal brushing. Same on the upper lug surface, but there is a long high polished chamfer. We've got a high polished bezel and it's a nice aluminium bezel insert there, but with concentric circle work. Screw down crown, 300 meters of water resistance, because don't forget, this is the overlord of the sea after all. H-link bracelet is also pretty nice. Brushed upper surfaces, polished edges, but yeah, big watch because of those long end links and because of a diameter dimension in excess of claimed. Look, there you are, that's my Casio Duro, unfortunately in need of a battery. No such problems with a solar quartz as discussed. Duro's a 44. You can see just how much bigger this Yilang is than the Duro. Now the dial of the watch claims that the Sea Overlord is a solar divers with an apostrophe suggesting it has been ISO certified. I have no doubt that this watch has received no such certification. Apart from anything else, the back claims something different. It claims it's a solar drive. Same letters, different sequence. Anyway, there is the Orca in high polish. Screw down, obviously, matching the crown, 300 meters of water resistance. Case back is quite pleasant as well. The whole watch is fairly well finished. Alright, dial and hands, I'll throw in a bit of outdoor macro here as appropriate as well. So the Yilang logo, which is the star on top of a wolf's head with wings and double Yilang branding, is just printed on. There is a kind of wave pattern here as well, once again emphasizing this watch is a diver. So 14 MB Microtech H3 T100 tritium tubes. If you're unfamiliar with these things, H3 tritium is a radioactive isotope of hydrogen. It has a half-life of approximately 12 years. Don't worry about radioactivity though, it never leaves the glass tubes containing the gas. There's always a bit of an aesthetic compromise though with tritium, not the most attractive look on a dial, all those little tubes, all those little batons, and it compromises a handset as well. There's limits to what you can do with a handset, and the hand stack has to be large because the tubes themselves add a certain depth to the hands. Overall, this one isn't a bad looking dial though, with the mixed finishing, the patterning, the day-date complication also adds an extra layer of practicality, and the second hand is hitting all of those markers. If you're going to live with a quartz watch long term, that is definitely an advantage. It's massive though, far too big for me. I could probably have coped with a 44 that was indeed 14.3mm thick, but not something at 15mm thick that's 46mm or all but 46mm in diameter, and those lug to lugs with the end links are enormous. It has the same problem that the No Time to Pagani had a few years ago. You can see those top surfaces of the first link and it's not all that attractive. Look, if you're a much bigger guy than I am and you normally wear this size of watch, then it will suit you down to the ground, but I've got an average size 7-inch wrist. It's just too big for me. It doesn't look very good at all. Let's see what it's like on rubber. Better. It's better on rubber. It is still fairly substantial though. It's one of those super soft silicone bands, but that hardware is junk. Yeah, look, if you've got any kind of 22 in the house, it's probably going to be preferable to this one. Nice of them to include it in the package though, I suppose. But of course, I haven't shown you the money shot yet. I haven't shown you these tubes in action. I'm going to do a side-by-side with the second watch in a couple of minutes' time. Okay, watch number 2. I must admit I'm a little bit worried about the dimensions of this one, given that it also claimed to be a 44 on paper. Same bump in the top of the box, by the way. This one is a dive chronograph. I think it has less water resistance. I think it only has 100 meters of water resistance as opposed to 300 meters of water resistance. This is a V1215 model, apparently also containing a Seiko solar movement, but this time a VR42 3-register plus date chrono movement. Okay, so this one is similar but different. Features an all brushed case, a much more angular case, much more similar to the Yilang that I looked at a couple of years ago. It's an H-link bracelet, all brushed on top but brushed on the sides. Both watches, by the way, feature the bottom of the ladder cheap press clasps. I'll get this one sized up and measured up, and we can find out what the dimensions actually are. Alright, I've had the calipers out to give this one the once over. They claim it as a 44 with a thickness of 13.2. I measure it at 45 with a thickness of 13.5. So it is bigger than the listing, but not as much bigger than the listing as the three-hander was. Likewise, the lug-to-lug on this one is 51.2, so definitely more manageable. It does have those male end links, but they are more contoured as well. It fits me better, as you'll see in just a minute. 22mm lug width, the same. Sized up for my 7-inch wrist, I had to remove the same number of links. The bracelet, although on the three-hander, is a little bit better. This one has a bit more flex and more play. It weighs in at 187 grams. They call this the V1215, and it contains a VR43 by Seiko. Flat sapphire crystal, 100 meters of water resistance with a screw-down crown. Yeah, this one definitely better finished than the three-hander. Costs a little more though. It costs just under $220 once you add the vouchers. I think it's well worth spending the extra $20 if you are keen for a bit of practical tritium. You get the extra practicality of the chronograph apart from anything else. This one is all brushed. The chrono pushers are decent. They're not screwed down though, and it's got that little wolf head logo. Anodized ring around the crown, the middle of the crown there, nice bi-coloured bezel. Overall, this one just looks better than the slightly awkward three-hander, I think. The case back isn't quite as fancy, but then again, that doesn't really matter, and this one at least doesn't have any spelling mistakes on it. So it's a 3-register chronograph layout with subdials at the 3, the 6, the 9. The central hand is a permanently ticking second hand. The register at the 3 o'clock is a 24-hour indicator. There's a date complication squeezed in between the two tubes at the 4 and the 5 in a trapezoidal frame, no less. 30-minute chrono timer, that's the register at the 9 o'clock, and we have the chrono second down there at the 6 o'clock. So start, stop and reset, all pretty straightforward stuff. Unfortunately, this one, the permanently ticking central second hand, doesn't quite hit the markers in the way that the three-hander did. Quick look at this one outside before we get to the wrist shots and the all-important money shot. Yeah, I definitely prefer this to the three-hander. It just looks better balanced, even though there is more going on. I prefer the handset on this one as well, with the tritium tubes at the tip, and they've managed to get a bit of skeletonization in there also. White against black, nicely legible during the day as well as after dark, of course. Now you can specify different colours of this one. They do it in a green and a blue. I went for the yellow. You can also specify different colours of tritium tubes within that as well. I'll show you what I went for in just a second. All the printing is neat and tidy, everything lines up, and this one is not claiming to be something it isn't. It just says solar powered watch under the Yilang logo at the 12. Better, but still really pretty large. You don't have the same level of overhang on my 7-inch wrist, and you don't have the same level of exposure of those end links. Yeah, it's still probably going to suit a rubber strap better than the bracelet, this one though, I'll be honest. Indeed it does. That is chunky, but that is actually manageable in a way that the three-hander just wasn't even on the rubber strap. It's a shame that that hardware is so rotten because the strap itself is comfortable and it's kind of semi-fitted. Yeah, I could get away with this one. This is kind of what I was hoping for. I was hoping for something that was big but was actually wearable. The three-hander, I just don't think it's wearable. For me anyway, bigger wrist no problem, but not for me. This one, yeah, I could definitely pull that off in its current state. But this watch isn't about rubber straps. Let's cut to the money shot. Let's have a look at it after dark. And there we go, that's the three-hander with the predominantly green tritium tubes on the left and the chronograph that I picked in yellow to match the yellow bezel and yellow crown ring on the right. You know I love my lume, but there's nothing that can touch tritium after dark, and H100 is the brightest tritium that you can currently buy and put on your wrist. As discussed, half-life of about 12 years, so it won't stay this bright forever. But ask yourself an honest question, how many watches in your collection have you had for more than 12 years? Hand on heart, I can say about 3 or 4, and I've got a collection of 50 or 60, so yeah, I'm not too bothered about the half-life of this one, to be honest. I think if you can get a decade out of a watch that costs just over $200, you're doing pretty well. So what's the verdict then? Hit, miss, or maybe? Well, the three-hander is unfortunately a bit of a miss. It's too chunky. Why does it have 24-hour markings? Why does it have a picture of a fish? Why is it called Sea Overlord? Why does it have spelling mistakes on the back and questionable claims on the front? Just too big and chunky, I'm afraid. Why would you buy this one when for $20 more you can get a more attractive and more practical chronograph that is also more wearable to boot? So a no and a maybe at best with this one, though it is still really big and really chunky. And aesthetically, some of the decisions taken around the case size, the lugs, the shape, all slightly questionable, but put it on a decent rubber strap. This is a Barton Elite Silicone. These are around $20 US, and for less than $250 on your wrist, you've now got something that is beginning to look compelling. Stainless steel, sapphire, screw down crown, 100 meters of water resistance, Seiko solar chronograph movement, comfortable rubber strap, and killer T100 tritium tubes in the colour of your choice. This is kind of what I'm looking for. It's getting there anyway. Have I found the ultimate affordable tritium? No, I have not. But this is kind of going in the right direction at least. Thanks for making it all the way to the back end of this video. While you're here, why not check out my previous Yilang double bill or watch me roast that awful epoch in my top 5 bottom 5 of 2022. I hope to see you all again in a future video.